Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Marketing Gamble, the podcast where I share the weekly updates of me starting my online marketing business at uni and the lessons that I learned on the way. In today's episode, I got something really exciting to share that I'm really looking forward to. But before I get started, if you could, leave a like on the video and share the podcast to anyone you know who is trying to start their own business, so maybe they can learn something and we can all build great businesses together. That would be much appreciated. All right, cool. Now that you've liked the video. Today, what I wanted to talk about then is basically what I'm doing day to day at uni to run my business, because I think a lot of the content creators out there, they don't share what they're doing day to day 100%. You get the morning routine or the things they don't do, but you don't really get an in-depth, this is what I do to achieve X every day, which I've always thought would be really helpful. So I'm going to go into full detail of what I'm generally doing day to day to grow my business and what I'm doing to work on my business, why I do it and how I fit it in. And I also think it'd be pretty cool as well to kind of document it so that when the business is much bigger, we can come back and see what the process actually was, and you can see me doing X to achieve X, and that's how I grew the company. Okay, so typical day, wake up 7 to 8. If I've got a morning lecture, I kind of go earlier because I try and fit in the gym just beforehand, get a bit of exercise right out of the way. I do that first because I think it's a good way to wake up. I've also just heard people say that online, so I copy it. And then I normally go and do that, come back and I meditate, and then I read a book for 30 minutes. And the book that I read is whatever book I'm reading at the time, because I've got a goal this year to read 30 books in the year. So I'll read 30 books. The book I'm reading right now is The Millionaire Fast Lane, which has been really good. I'd recommend that. So that's very quickly the morning before I start any work. Then what I normally do is I sit down and this is when I start my work, and the first thing I do before I actually start is I write a checklist of all the things I'm going to do in the day, all the work that needs to get done, so I can tick it off. And then normally the first bit of work that I start after I've written everything down is I go straight onto LinkedIn, because that's literally like where I run my business through. It's where I get all my clients, it's where I speak to all the other people in my in the industry, and it's also where I post my main source of content about my business. So I go onto LinkedIn, and if it's a day where I'm going to post, I'll post on LinkedIn, and I'll engage on other posts and engage with other creators, and I'll message everybody. And that's normally what I do. I get like my LinkedIn jobs out of the way in the first hour and a half of the morning. And then once I've done that, I go and I normally, after I've done that work, I normally have my first bit of whatever food it is to eat, and then I go to the library, and the library is where I get like the deep kind of client work done that I need to get done, like the actual day-to-day business stuff that I need to do. So I'll go to the library, which is like 20 minutes away, 20 minutes walk, and they have a really nice brand new iMacs there. My laptop's like 2015 MacBook, so it sometimes slow down when I'm using things like Go High Level, or I'm trying to build a website or something, because they're quite intense on the computers. So I'll go to the library and I'll go on one of the MacBooks or one of the iMacs there, and that's normally where I'll bring my headphones, I'll bring like my water, and I'll pack lunch as well, because I don't want to buy lunch when I'm there because it's expensive. And I'll sit with my headphones on with my water, and I'll chew gum as well, because it stops me, I bite my nails, and it also helps me concentrate. And I'll sit there for like 3 or 4 hours, and I'll just set myself a job for my clients, and I'll just do all the work for them, and that's normally in the morning. That's kind of like the first thing I try and do in the library. Okay, so like once I've done all the work for the clients, now I get all the service stuff done out of the way first, and then I like to do my calls later in the day. So if I've got client calls or sales calls, or I'm meeting with somebody else who I'm talking to in the industry, then I'll get that done usually later in the afternoon. So I'll obviously come home from the library to do that. I don't want to be doing my meetings in the library. And I'll come here and I'll sit exactly where I am now, and I'll do my meetings. And obviously the amount of meetings I have kind of depends on the day, but normally I'll do my meetings, and then I'll write down after I've finished all my meetings what I've got to do for the next day, or like if I've got things still left on that I haven't ticked off, I'll finish those at the end of the day. And then if everything's ticked off that I wanted to get done in the day, then I'll just plan kind of what I'm going to do the following day, kind of write out what I'm going to do. And so after I've done all that, that's literally it. That's basically my day-to-day. Weekends are a bit more relaxed approach, so I still get all the jobs done that I want to do. I still write them out in the morning, but I just don't have like strict this is what I do, if that makes sense. I'm doing this at this time, this at this time, this at this time, which is what I do in the weekdays. And also on a Sunday, I don't do any agency work for any clients. I just write all the content that I'm going to be posting on LinkedIn, and I also record and write the script for my podcast on Sunday as well. And that's basically it. That's kind of like the day-to-day, or what I would do in a typical week. And I hope that's kind of the episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, let me know. I'd like to know what your routine's like if you run a business or if you just are at uni. What's your routine like? And if you could leave a like and share the podcast to anyone who you know is trying to start their own business, so maybe they can learn something and we can build a great business together, that would be much appreciated. So thanks again, and I'll see you in next week's episode.